Hi, I am Dr. K. Kavirasu, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Science and Humanities, Karpagam Academy of Higher Education, Coimbatore. The video lecture series is about crystal physics. The video lecture series consists of 7 lectures with a duration of 10 to 15 minutes each. The topic discussed in this video lectures are Lecture 1, Introduction to Crystal Physics, Lecture 2, Types of Crystal System, Part 1, Lecture 3, Types of Crystal System, Part 2, Lecture 4, Bravais lattice and Miller indices, Lecture 5, Characterization of unit cell, Lecture 6, Crystal growth techniques, Lecture 7, Crystal defects and imperfection. Introduction to crystal physics. In general, the elements and their chemical compounds are occurs in 3 main states, that is solid, liquid, gas. Apart from these 3 states, there is 4th state which is said to be plasma, which is nothing but ionized gases. All these materials are made up of atoms and molecules. These atoms and molecules are held together by a force which is called as chemical bonds. There are several types of chemical bonds as we seen in the chemistries, that is ionic, covalent and hydrogen bonds are there. Then in solids and liquids, the distance between the neighbor atoms are very less when compared to that of gaseous atoms, say in the few Armstrongs. Next we see the classifications of solids. So generally the solids are classified into 2 categories, that is nothing but crystalline materials and amorphous materials. The amorphous materials are non-crystalline materials. So crystalline materials are those the atoms are arranged in a regularly manner. There are 2 types of crystalline materials, that is nothing but single crystal and polycrystals. The amorphous materials or non-crystalline materials are those in which the atoms are arranged in a randomly manner, that is irregular manner. Why we need to study this crystal physics? So crystal and their internal arrangement and their properties are studied, then only we can choose any particular crystal for their device applications which will enhance the device performance. So here are listed few applications of crystals. First one is LED applications. So crystals are used in the LED. Then solar cell applications. So solar cell, the silicon crystals are used in a solar cell. Then laser crystals. So commonly ruby or NDR lasers are used for this laser application. The electronic applications. In electronic applications, the transistors, diodes, ICs are fabricated in a single crystal substrates. So generally semiconductor crystals are used in this electronics, that is silicon, germanium and gallium arsenide, indium phosphide. These crystals are used for this electronic purposes. Next, radiation detectors. So radiation detector is nothing but to detect the radiations such as alpha, beta, gamma radiations. So some of the crystals of iodines are used for this radiation detectors. So iodine crystals like sodium, cesium and 3,5 compound and 5,6 compounds are used for this radiation detector. Piezoelectric effects. The quartz is a very common crystal which is used for the piezoelectric effect. So now we are going to see the solar cell applications, that is the silicon crystals. So these silicon crystals are grown using the Zagorski methods. There are 6 stages which is involved in this solar cell applications. First one is the polycrystalline material, that is feedstock. Then second one is nothing but the ingot, that is the single crystal which is grown from this Zagorski method. Then these grown crystals are cutted and sliced into a wafers. These wafers are become this solar cell. These solar cells can be become moduli. Then these moduli are become the solar system which is fitted in the outside roofs. The second image shows the growth process, where initially we can take the polycrystalline powders in a crucible, and these crucibles are kept at a temperature of 1400 to 1500 degrees Celsius in an RF furnace. So we have used the residue heating also used for this heating purposes. Then these polycrystalline powders are become solutions. These solutions can be dipped using the seed crystal, thereby we can grow the bulk crystals from these liquid solutions. So the second image shows the us grown big crystals by the crystal grower scientists. Now we are going to see the laser applications. In laser application we are going to see the NDR crystals. These crystals are grown using the Zagorski methods. So the pure crystal is highly transparent, whereas the neodymium doped crystals are slightly pink in colors. Then these grown crystals are cutted into a rod shape. Then these rods are used for the laser applications. After cutting these lasers crystals into a rod form, that is its installation into the optical cavity. Thereby we have a 2 reflecting mirror. One side is completely reflecting, the other side is partially reflecting mirrors. So when we excite these crystals using flash lamps, the crystals, the atoms are goes to excited state. thereby it comes to ground state by the emission of radiations. So these radiations are make multiple reflections in this optical cavity. Then we will have the laser output in the partially reflecting mirrors. The output wavelength is of the order of 1064 nanometers. Then we will see the applications of these NDR crystals. So in these NDR crystals are used lot of applications. Scientific purpose, we have used these crystals to have the different wavelength emitters, that is wavelength generators. In medical applications, the fiber optics endoscopes are used. In material industrial purpose, it is used to drilling, cutting and welding purposes. Then we have the military applications. In military applications, these laser lights are used to find the target finders and the source detectors. So in this slide, we are going to see the classifications of crystalline solids. The crystalline solids are those in which the atoms are arranged in a regular and periodical manner throughout the three-dimensional space. Each atoms are fixed at a definite point, at a definite distance from each other and at a definite angular orientation to all other. This is said to be well-definite geometrical forms. So crystals must possess these well-definite geometrical forms. Then the classifications of crystalline solids are into two types, that is single crystal and polycrystal. Single crystals. In single crystal, which contains only one crystal, then said to be a single crystals. The atoms are arranged in a regularly manner, which is shown in the figure 1 that represents the single crystals. So when polycrystalline materials are nothing but it contains many grains which are separated by a well-definite grain boundaries. So in figure 2, the schematic representation of the polycrystalline is shown. So here we have seen 5 regions of polycrystalline grains are there which are separated by a surface boundaries. So the atoms are arranged in these grains, but the regularities of the crystalline materials are seen only within this grain boundaries. Then it is said to be polycrystals. The examples of the crystalline materials are iron, sodium, gold, nickel, etc. Amorphous or non-crystalline materials. These are the materials in which the atoms are arranged in an irregular or randomly fashions in a three-dimensional space. Example of these non-crystalline materials are plastic, rubber, etc. So the schematic representation of amorphous materials are shown in this figure 3. Now we see the difference between the crystalline and non-crystalline material which are tabulated in this table. So fundamentals of crystals. So crystals are nothing but the polyhedral form which are formed by the chemical compound under the force of atomic force, which is passed from liquid to solids under a suitable condition. Crystalline is a regular polyhedral form which is bounded by a smooth surface which is formed by the chemical compound under the force of interatomic force. Nucleations. The molecules are gathered together as a cluster in a definite manner. This cluster should be stable under the experimental condition to reach the critical cluster size. So after this critical crystal size, these are said to be nucleus. These nucleus process are said to be nucleations. This nucleus gives the definite crystal structures. The entire process is represented in the schematic diagram. Crystal growth. The nucleus which reaches the critical size or begin to grow, that is called as crystal growth. The crystal growth is a dynamic process in which the molecules or atoms are precipitated as a clusters and reaches the critical size. After this critical size, these atoms are again further redissolved and grown. Supercooling and supersaturations are the two common driving force for this formations of crystals. The entire process of the crystal growth is shown in this schematic diagram. Crystallography. X-rays are commonly used to study these crystal structures because the wavelength of the X-rays are comparable or equal to that of the interatomic distance. The crystal structure was determined using these X-rays are said to be X-ray crystallography. Neutron and electron beams are also used to study these crystal structures. The schematic representation of the X-ray crystallographics are shown in this figure. Let us come to the end of the first video lectures. In this video lecture, I hope you will understand about the introduction to crystal physics, where we discuss about the different types of crystals and the applications of the crystals, then the fundamentals of the crystals. In the next lecture, we will see about the types of crystal system, part 1. Thank you.